Hello students, this is Deepak Kumar Sahu from Odisha Adarsha Vidyalaya, Gunupur, Raigada, and you are learning Gift of Chappals Part 2. Hope you're all doing good. So without any further delay, let's begin. So before we go forward, I would like to give you a brush up of what we had learned about the characters and as well as the setting. All right. Well, the setting, as you know, it's Chennai, and the characters here include Mridu from family 1. There are two families I told you before, and in Mridu's family there are she lives with her grandparents, and one fine day she decides to visit her auntie Rukumani and uncle Gopu Mama, right? So she, along with her grandmother, they visit there. Alright, in their family they have Rukumani, Gopu Mama, and their three sons and daughters, Ravi, Meena and Lali. Also there is a cat in their family which is called MP Punai. Also we are going to learn about two more characters in today's class. So one is the music teacher and the other one is a beggar. Alright, so guys, let's take a quick look at what had happened in the last class. Mridu was introduced to the cat MP Punai. As the story began, you saw that she was dragged to the backyard to show the cat they had gotten from outside, and that was MP Punai. Then Ravi has a lot to talk about the cat and he keeps glorifying it. So he says the cat is descendant of the Bastet. I told you that is Egyptian goddess, cat goddess, right? A woman with a cat head. And how it has got relation with the Mahabalipuram Rishi cat, the stowaway cat, how it has got the relation with the Pallava lion. All right. So all of that he goes on telling about the cat. And then suddenly what happens is, they hear a kind of noise, and the noise was Lali trying to play the violin. Lali was not so much good at playing it, and she keeps making a number of mistakes. So she makes such kind of a noise from the violin that actually frightens Mahendran and startles Mridu. Alright, so that's all about the quick brush up of the last chapter, and now let's hop on to start today's part. Mridu crept up to the window. What is the meaning of crept up? Crept is the past tense of creep, which means to move somewhere, avoiding attention of people. Lali was sitting at a little distance away, awkwardly, means oddly, holding her violin and bowstring. What is bowstring? The tool that you use to rub against the violin stem to produce the music. And what is happening? Her elbows jutting out and her eyes glazed with concentration. Elbow jutting out means moving out, and her eyes are glazing means shining with concentration. Now the setup is that the music teacher is trying to teach some music to Lali, and what is happening here? Lali is trying to put all her concentration to learn, but then somehow she is failing. All right. In front of her, with most of his back to the window, was a bony figure of the music teacher. Now, sitting opposite was the music teacher there. And what was it looking like? What was, what was his body structure like? He had a bony figure. What is a bony figure? When you've got a lot of bones in your body, right? No, not that way. I mean, when you say that somebody is skinny, extremely thin, then you call them as bony. So the music teacher was bony. All right. He had mostly bald head with a fringe of oiled black hair falling around his ears and old-fashioned tuft. So most of his hair was bald. What is bald? Having a little hair on your head, or probably no hair on your head, right? So here the music teacher has a very little hair and he's a tuft. Hindi mein jisko choti bolte hain, right? So the music teacher had that. Alright, and a gold chain gleamed around his leathery neck. So he was wearing a gold chain that was gleaming, which means shining around his leathery neck. What is leathery neck? Leathery means, you can find such skin in two types of people. One are the people who are fat, and the others are like the old people, like you find those leathery necks. So around the leathery neck of the music teacher you can see the golden chain gleaming. And a diamond ring glittered on his hand as it glided up and down the stem of the violin. So when he was playing the violin, what was happening? He was wearing a diamond ring, all right? So that was beautifully shining or glittering when he was playing it against the violin, right? Glided up and down means like moving up and down. A large foot stuck out from beneath his gold bordered vesti edge. What is vesti? Vesti is a dhoti. So there was a large foot of this music teacher sticking out of the dhoti or vesti. And what was it doing? And it was beating time on the floor with the scrawny big toe. So with the scrawny big toe, you must have come across this word in the initial part of the story. When Mridu tries to enter, she's stuck looking at a pair of chappals, right? The grey chappals, if you remember. That had scrawny toe marks on it, right? So now it is very clear that those chappals belong to the music teacher. Alright, so the foot of the music teacher was beating time on the floor. That's what we can see here. He played a few notes. Lali stumbled behind him on her violin, which looked quite helpless and unhappy in her hands. What a difference. The music teacher was playing some notes. Notes means some tune on the violin. Lali was trying to follow him. And then Lali stumbled. What is the meaning of stumble? Stumble means, the literal meaning of the word stumble is to hit against something and almost going to fall. Now in this scenario, what would be the meaning? Here Lali is unable to follow the music teacher the way she was supposed to. And then she failed, and there was a big difference. Music teacher was playing beautifully and Lali was playing awfully. The music master's notes seemed to float up and settle perfectly into the invisible tracks of melody. It was like the wheels of a train fitting smoothly into the rails and whizzing along. As Ravi said, Mridu stared at the huge beringed hand moving effortlessly up the violin stem, making lovely music. Now, these three people are standing at the window, obviously hiding attention of everyone, and then there they are looking at all these things that is happening. So what does Ravi say here? He says that the music teacher is playing the music in a very beautiful way, and he compares it to a train, running on a track. Now, when you see a train, it runs on the track, it perfectly runs on those two narrow lines, and it doesn't move here and there. And perfectly it moves, making the rhythmic sound. Exactly what is happening when the music teacher plays the music. But then, when Lali is playing, she is not able to do like that, and she is failing almost all the time. Now here we have a word. Mridu stared at the huge beringed hand. What is beringed hand? I mean the hand which is wearing a ring. Alright, so that is called a beringed hand. So that music teacher was wearing a diamond ring, and when he was playing the music, the diamond ring was of course glittering, gleaming, glazing. Alright, well, squack, there was Lali derailing again. Now squack, what is the meaning of it? When you express your annoyance or anger over something, then it is called squack. Alright, so there was Lali derailing again. What is derailing? Rail is the railway track, right? And when you derail, you move off the track, which means now Lali's train is moving off the track, possibly causing accident. Amma, come a wail from the gate. Amma, oh! So at this moment, when they were watching all this thing happening, they heard a voice from the background, which is definitely the sound of a beggar. Ravi, sent the beggar away, cried his mother from the back veranda, where she was chatting with Tapi. The moment the voice was heard by Rukumani, she immediately called from there and asked Ravi to turn the beggar away, to drive him away, to send him away. He has been coming here every day for the past week, and it's time he found another house to beg from, Pati explained to Tapi. Now Pati and Tapi, and now here, these two people are talking, right? So Rukumani and grandma. So when these people are talking, the voice of the beggar is heard, and instantly she says that, this beggar has been coming here every day, and therefore he should not be coming here, and he should not take us for granted. So he should come some other time, or maybe he should find some other house to beg from. All right. So what happens next is Mridu and Meena followed Ravi out. Ravi, like a very obedient son, he went out immediately to send the beggar away. Of course, the beggar was already in the garden, making himself quite at home. So the beggar was not expecting such kind of words. So he was, confident that he would receive some kind of help from the family. And then he went there and he was making himself quite comfortable there. He had spread his upper cloth under the neem tree and was leaning, means bending, right, against its trunk. Apparently, it means looked like prepared to take a little snooze, means a little sleep or small sleep or rest, quick sleep, while he waited for the alms to appear. What is alms? Like whatever you offer to the beggars, that is called alms. Alright, so the scene is that the beggar came over there and then he spread whatever towel or whatever he was holding, he just spread it on the ground, and he was getting ready to take a little rest under the tree. Go away, said Ravi sternly. Sternly in the sense, strictly, in a very rough voice. My Pati says it's time you found another house to beg from. Now it's time for you to go and beg from some other house, and we are not going to give you any alms. Guys, what is noteworthy here is the children are, merely the reflection of the adults. So you can see how Ravi is reiterating the voice of his Pati. Now, so let's see what is happening next. The beggar opened his eyes very wide and gazed at each of the children one by one. The moment Ravi said this, something which was unwelcoming or something which was unexpected to hear, having listened to that, the beggar looked at each of the children there. Who are those three children? Ravi, Mridu and Meena. The ladies of this house, he said at last in a voice choked with feeling. Now he said something in a voice choked with feeling, in the sense, in a very sad voice he said. What did he say? He said, the ladies of this house are very kind souls. I have kept my body and soul together on their generosity for a whole week. The people in this house are known for their generosity, in the sense, kindness. And I have lived this whole week on their kindness. I cannot believe that they would turn me away. And this is extremely difficult for me to digest, that they are sending me away today. He raised his voice. Amma, Amma, oh, sad his wail might be, but it certainly wasn't feeble. It began in a deep, strong rumble. What is the meaning of feeble? Weak. And rumble, it's a kind of series of sound. Somewhere in his withered belly in the sense, empty stomach you can say here, and came booming out of his mouth with its few remaining teeth stained brown, means colored brown with beetle chewing. Now what here happens is the beggar, unable to take this, that they are actually turning him away. He still has some hope, and then whatever with his remaining, power, whatever remaining energy that he has in his stomach, he makes a further call and he asks for it. Amma, oh Amma. Ravi, tell him there's nothing left in the kitchen. When second time the beggar makes this sound, immediately another sound comes back as a reply from the home. Ravi tell him there's nothing left in the kitchen. So there's nothing left in the kitchen. Rukumani said this and is not to come again. Tell him that. She sounded fed up. Here Rukumani is absolutely fed up and she says that there's actually nothing left in the kitchen, or probably there is. It's not possible there's nothing left in the kitchen. It's just that she's fed up and she doesn't want the beggar to come again and again. So she is asking Ravi to send him away. Ravi didn't have to repeat it all to the beggar. What his mother said had been easy for them all to hear. There under the neem tree, the beggar sat up and sighed. Ravi did not have to repeat it once again because the voice was loud and clear for all those people there to hear it out. Now, after listening to this, the beggar then sat up there and sighed, means released, breath, all right, like deep breath, like to show his disappointment. I'll go, said the beggar wearily, means as if he's very tired. In a tired way he said that, I'll go. Only let me have a rest here under this tree. The sun is so hot and the tar, what is the tar? The black substance that you see on the road, right? Tar has melted on the road. My feet are already blistered. What is blister? What is a blister? It's the swelling on the surface of the skin which contains liquid stuff like possibly sometimes pus or blood. All right, so there have been like swellings on the sole of his feet. He stretched out his feet to show large pink peeling blisters on the soles of his bare feet. He said that he would go, but all he wants is a little rest because the sun is too hot and it would be difficult for him to walk barefoot on the road because the tar is melting. It's too hot. All right, so he just begs to stay there, to allow him to stay there for a while. Having listened to this, the children got really upset and they were very sad. Now let's see what is the reaction from their side. I suppose he doesn't have the money to buy chappals, Mridu whispered to Meena and Ravi. Meena and Ravi were there and Mridu whispered this to these two people and she said that I suppose he doesn't have the money to buy a pair of chappals. She asks further that have you got an old pair in the house somewhere? So she asks to Ravi that do you have an old pair of chappals in your house anywhere? Then what does Ravi say? I don't know. Mine are too small to fit his feet, or I'd have given them to him. And his feet were larger than Mridu's and Meena's too. Ravi is absolutely unaware whether there is an old pair of chappals at home, but then certainly he is sure about his slippers. He wanted to give his own to him, but then the thing is that his feet are way smaller than that of the beggar. And the same was with Mridu and Meena's slippers. Otherwise, even they would have given their pair of chappals. The beggar was shaking out his upper cloth and tightening his dhoti. Now it's time the beggar is getting up to leave. Now, what is he doing? He's shaking up his cloth, his towel or whatever upper cloth he was holding in order to ensure that there's no dust in that. Alright, also he's tightening his dhoti just before, he walks out. He raised his eyes and looked fearfully at the road gleaming in the afternoon heat. The beggar, definitely it is clear that he has gotten up to walk out of the home, but then he is very afraid. He's terrified looking at the burning road, which is gleaming in the afternoon's heat. He needs something on his feet, Meena said, her big eyes filling. It's not fair. So what does Meena say here is, she has sympathy for this beggar and she says that it's really tough for the beggar to walk out and especially walk barefooted on those, on the road like that. So, it's not fair, it's not good at all. Shh, said Ravi. I'm thinking about it. Blubbering, it's not fair isn't going to help. Wait a minute, I'm thinking about it. Just go, blubbering means just go on speaking something unclearly, right? Just stop speaking like that all the time. It's not fair. If you go on saying like that, it's not going to help. Let's do something practical to help him. Okay, in 2 minutes, he'll be frying his feet on that road. What he needs is a pair of chappals. So where do we get them? Come, let's search the house. He pushed Mridu and Meena into the house. So he said that, okay, just going on saying it's not fair is not going to help. Let's do something. Let's find a pair of chappals from home so we can give it to him. So let's go and search the home. Having said that, he pushed these two girls and they went into the house to check it. That's all about part 2. Hope you enjoyed the lecture. We'll meet once again in the last part of the chapter. Thank you so much. Have a good time.